Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Turf Today, brought to you, as always, by Toro. My name is Adam Kershane, and joined by Brian Laurent, and we recorded this thing on the Superintendent Network. Sorry we missed a lot of you guys down on the floor at the conference 2 weeks ago. My God, it was crazy. Crazy week. We enjoyed ourselves, and next year we're going to do a much better job of making ourselves available to you. We had a lot going on and a lot promised, but at the same time we were just running around. So that's on us, and we will definitely be more organized next year in Orlando. Yeah, I don't know how things are going for everybody there. You know, golf season is still around the corner. TGL is kicking. Some of the tournaments are starting to move. It's been exciting seeing some of this stuff happen. I know we were right at Torrey, right between the two tournaments, and then getting to watch it on TV. Watch the Genesis on TV was so cool. Just seeing a course and then getting to see it on TV it's otherworldly. So anybody who's ever volunteered at a tournament knows that feeling. It's pretty special. And now here I am up in Canada. There is so much snow. We've just been buried. So it's like, oh, golf season seems like it's so far away, but keep plugging away and we're going to keep working, but we will get there. For now, you know, we're enjoying doing the show. We have some amazing guests coming up. We got some great people lined up when we were down in San Diego, and a long list of folks that are ready to come on the show, which is really humbling and very exciting at the same time. This week we bring on Kevin Sunderman, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the GCSAA. Great to talk to him about his career, how he's moved his way up, and he dives into everything that goes on there at the GCSAA and everything that happened for the show, because it was quite a week, and we're very, very grateful that he found some time to talk to us. We'll see you on the other side of the break. This is a really good one, so buckle up. Turf Today is brought to you by Toro. Innovation is a word that companies use a lot, but what does it really mean? For Toro, it's about more than chasing the latest fad. It's about understanding what's important to you and helping you solve challenges you face in your day-to-day. So whether you want battery power that lasts longer or technology that works smarter, you can count on Toro to keep you ahead of the game. Visit Toro.com and see how Toro is always solving and always evolving. Hey, buddy.
What's up?
Boys are back.
Welcome. It's good to be back.
Look at us connecting right away. No
Oh,
audio
man.
issues or anything. I had to pull this stuff, put it all back together. I'm like, it's not going to work. First shot, bang. What's going on?
My computer updated a couple of days ago, and I've had a couple issues with a few of my different applications on it. But yeah, man, this one was knock on wood. Got right in.
How does it feel being back at home?
Feels good, man. Feels good. Although the weather's not as nice as it was in San Diego.
No, that's definitely
like
one thing we're missing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you sent me that picture this morning. Looks like you got a little bit of snow cover, huh?
Yeah, me and my son were out there for a good hour and a half, which was always fun. We did shoveled our driveway, our neighbor's driveway, and then we did our backyard too. So it's been a busy morning, and it's still snowing. There's still more coming down. So
Oh my gosh.
always
Is it
something.
mandatory to have a snowblower?
Yeah, most places we don't have a garage, so we've lived here 7 years. I've always just hand shoveled it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just got to wake up like an hour earlier, right? And go out and get it done.
That is especially when you go to work early, it's something you gotta
Right.
get ahead of, but not too bad. Usually this time of year, we're just plowing snow at the golf course anyways, so you're taking care of snow at your house, and then you're going to work and taking care of snow at work, and it's just fighting
Yeah.
the white stuff.
Yikes.
I don't know.
Yikes.
Did you guys not
Right.
get some down where you are? It was passing all the way through.
We had a little bit. We actually had thunderstorms. I was blown
Oh,
away. Yeah, we had thunderstorms. I mean, literally, what's funny is we got the new stuff from Flash Weather that we were able to look at, and I literally pulled it up. We literally had lightning strikes within we probably had six of them within a mile of our house. I mean,
Wow.
there was one. We were laying down. It was over the weekend. I was laying down and we were watching a show and all that. And just looking out my window, I literally saw one that looked like it was three houses over. I mean, it just it hit right next door. My son was doing some stuff on his phone, and he comes downstairs and he's like, it's like, Dad, I literally felt that. He's like, I feel like I got electrocuted through my phone when that lightning hit next to us. He's like, my
Whoa.
hand is tingling a little bit. Like, holy moly. So yeah, no, we didn't get the snow, but we got some electricity in the air. It was nuts. Not used to that in February.
No, that's different. That's definitely
Yeah,
different.
definitely different. So what fresh off our San Diego trip, what stands in your mind? What stands out for you from a couple days or almost a week out in San Diego?
Yeah, it seems like it was two parts. Like having the golf tournament out at Torrey was sort of the first leg of the trip, and then going downtown and being right in the heart of San Diego and the conference center, all the bars, all the parties and everything was kind of like the second leg. So I have really good memories and highlights from the golf tournament. We met so many great people, and obviously all the sponsors, including Toro, that were involved was phenomenal. And then moving downtown and getting to do everything with the conference and the trade show and all the different parties and stuff down there. I really enjoyed all of that. So it was two special, different kind of trips in one, and a lot of highlights from both. So I really enjoyed myself. It's taken me a week to recover from the trip, and I'm definitely looking forward to Orlando next year.
Oh yeah, already excited about Orlando and starting to think of what we can do a little differently to create some more buzz around, we had totally planned on walking around, interviewing people, doing stuff. It's like once you get there, it's just you're moving a million different directions, at 1,000 miles an hour, just trying to get a bunch of stuff done. It was nuts. It was chaos, but you're right, man. You're right. It almost did feel like two separate events. We started the week and we were up in La Jolla doing stuff for the golf tournament, and even before that, we were up in Carlsbad and met up with some of our buddies at Toro up at Goat
Hmm.
Hill. Had a good time up there, and got to hang out with Trevor for a little bit, which is a lot of fun, and do some stuff there. And then yeah, the move downtown, and then it's like game on. It was good, and we laid a big old goose egg in the four ball. Did we held our own a little bit in the scramble? That was fun. We did it right there. But yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. Got to play some nice golf courses there. It was really unique hearing how lucky we were to be playing Del Mar. We were out there. We had
Absolutely.
what do we have? Probably 200. They had to have had close to 144, 200 players or whatever at Del Mar that day. And the caddies were telling us they get 30 players a day out there. It's just super exclusive. And here we are coming in and taking the course over. It was that place is unreal.
Oh yeah, and they had the music going, and there was,
Yeah.
that beer carts everywhere and stuff. Like they did a really good job with that one. Yeah, they knocked our socks off for sure.
Yeah, that was an absolute blast, and like you said, just so nice getting to meet a bunch of different people and hanging out with people all around the country and even international folks like yourself coming in and being a part of it. It was a special week and was an absolute blast to get so many people coming out to the party that we had at Whiskey Girl. Was blown away by the turnout. I think I had planned on 100 about 150 RSVPs, and we probably exceeded that by 100. I think going through the drink ticket count, I think we had probably closer to 250 people show up.
Yeah, I was gonna
Uh,
say you gave out more than 150 drink tickets, that's for sure.
we did. We gave out a lot of drink tickets. It's one of those things where we come in with a plan and then all of a sudden you get bombarded and that plan just kind of goes out the window. And, I always default to, making sure people have a good time and are,
Yeah.
and are there, mingling and meeting one another. I always feel bad for those at those events. And I try to make sure whenever I talk to some friends before the event, it's like, look, I'll apologize in advance. It's going to be a busy night. I know I'm not going to be able to spend a lot of time with everyone, but fortunately, everyone's able to go in and connect with some old friends and peers, and so it works out great. But at least get to shake everyone's hand as they're walking in the door, and had a great time. So had a really good time.
You put on a good party. I thought we had a lot of fun. Everybody there, stayed a little bit later than we thought it would too. It ran late, and and everybody enjoyed themselves. So that's something we can definitely work on. We like having something like that, but then there is also the factor that we could have a golf tournament, or we could have some sort of event where it's a little more lively. But a lot of good people there. It was fun to
Yeah.
meet some folks that we've had on the show and some folks that want to come on the show too. So we really enjoyed that, and I wanted to apologize to some of the people that came to see us because other than being stationary at that party, it was pretty hard to get a hold of us. And, I know as soon as we hit the show floor, I was on the show floor at like 8 o'clock in the morning starting to work. And it was hard to get to people, and it was hard to get in touch with people. And then all of a sudden you're off having a conversation and it's half an hour, and then you're like, oh, I'm supposed to be somewhere, oh, I'm supposed to do this, oh, I'm supposed to meet this
Yeah.
person, oh my gosh, they texted me. So I think next year we need to be in one spot for the day so that people can come and find us, whether it's in the Toro booth or on our own, be in
Yeah.
one spot so that people can come to us and we can do some interviews, do some videos and stuff like that, and give away a
Yeah.
lot more stickers. That was one thing I heard. We did not bring enough stickers, even though I think we almost had almost 500 stickers with us, but yeah,
Yeah,
next
easily.
year we got to
Yeah.
load that up.
Yeah, I think I brought 100 and some stickers alone, of both brands and laid them out at our party. And I think I came home with, maybe easily less than a dozen. So yeah, those things went fast. And I know we reloaded the Toro booth a couple times with some stickers, and they went pretty quickly there. So yeah, I agree. We'll try and figure it out. It's like we were talking about. It's tough though when we have a bunch of different, sponsor obligations that we need to go here, there, and everywhere. But certainly try and identify maybe one day next year where we can set up and be stationary for a little bit, and maybe do a show on there, do some interviews in person at the show. Be great. So we're talking to a guy today that might be able to help us get that done next year. So we'll see. We'll see if we
Potentially,
can. Yeah, yeah.
potentially.
Yep, and we'll, take a look at next year and see if we want to do something different. If we want to do another golf event, kind of scope out what's available in the area. Look at the days of the week, see if there's an opportunity to do something. Um, maybe before the show begins or something, we can get a bunch of people together because a lot of people do come out. I think that's the one thing we continue to see every year is a lot of people do end up coming out early.
Hmm.
Whether it's to play in the golf championships or just to take advantage of good weather if they're coming in from the north. I think a lot of people do come in early just to connect with friends. So we'll see if we can coordinate a little golf event maybe or pop stroke or something. I think the pop stroke though is really far away. I think from iDrive in Orlando. So
It'd be tough.
we'll have to see what we can put together. Anyone out there that has ideas, please let us know. And also, I wanted to just put a little shout out and even a little apology to the guys from the Kansas State Turf Club. We appreciate you guys coming out in full force. Also, Virginia Tech came out in full force to our event. It's
Hmm.
great to see some college kids coming out. But the K-State guys invited us and asked us to come by their booth the next day. They had some swag they wanted to give us, and I just never got around. I don't think you were able to make it over there either.
No, no, I
But
missed that one.
yeah, but shout out to the K-State Turf Club. I apologize we weren't able to make it over there. But hopefully we'll connect soon, and would love to get my hands on one of those backpacks that you guys mentioned. So
There you go.
yeah, man, I
They had
love the
some good
swag.
swag. That's one of
Yeah,
those things that, yeah, the Turf Bowl guys kind of go all out with all the swag. It's like it's every year
heck
they're
yeah.
beefing it up. I like it.
Absolutely. That's a great opportunity, and I love seeing that the turf schools get their booths at the show. It's just a great way for the alumni to come back and reconnect and see what's going on with the turf club, see what's going on with the program. It's a great opportunity for the students to go and really see firsthand what this industry is all about, be able to see all the people, network, and then obviously the turf bowls, such a great activity there for them to get involved with. And was actually talking to a couple of guys. We were thinking like, why don't we do an alumni version of the turf bowl? Get alumni, get some current superintendents, and get some alumni teams together and see how they would do on the turf bowl. I think that'd be fun. See if we could get a couple of those
It'd be
together.
like you have to mash it up, Turf Bowl and Beer Fest, so that the guys could drink the whole time. Just go event to
Yes,
event.
yes. Well, the guys that I was talking to were saying, they'd probably have an option on each question to say not applicable to what we actually do every day. So it's just one
Right.
of those
Yeah.
things.
You know what I
I'd be
actually thought
curious to
was
see how that would go.
yeah, you know what I thought was really cool the way they do this, and maybe I missed this one in the past, but they didn't really announce any winners or tell anybody how they did throughout the day, right? It was kind of like, oh well, we'll see what happens. Oh well, put all the answers in and we'll find out. And then they bring everybody back the next day to announce everybody. So I thought that was really cool. I was talking to a few of the kids at the bar, and they're like, we don't know, we have no idea. And the one guy's like, oh, we did well, and the other guy's like, oh yeah, we'll see, you know. So
Yep. Yep.
it is cool that they kind of bring everybody back and do it all together. I mean, that's probably the best way to do it.
Yep, absolutely. No, it's cool. The closing ceremonies are always a good time, and there's always so much anticipation for the announcement of the results of that turf bowl. And once you see the announcements, you see all the alumni on Twitter and Instagram or wherever just going nuts and
Everybody's
sharing how
bragging,
whether
yeah.
yeah, it's it, that's it. Penn State defends or whatever it is. It's so cool the pride that people have in their alumni. It's a blast.
Yeah, I love it. It seems like something that's getting bigger. I know when we talked to
Yep.
Cam, he said the
Yep.
students are really putting a lot of time and effort into it. So it seems like it's something that's just keep getting bigger. So
Yep.
an alumni
Absolutely.
event could be something we pull off. You never know.
Oh man, that would be so much fun to do an alumni turf bowl. That would be
Mhm.
awesome. That would be awesome.
There's some guys out there right now just nodding their head, going, "Oh, I want some of that."
Yep, yep. Kyle Frederick, Chad Durrell, you guys are the brains behind that. So you guys have to spearhead the Ohio State team. Just saying.
There you go. Everybody get
Yep,
to wear their colors
calling them out.
again. That'd be fun.
Ye- Heck yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We'll have to ask Kevin if they can put that in the mix for next year.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Have
Yeah,
they said is 2027 going to be back in Arizona?
I have not heard. I think potentially New Orleans.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure because yeah, last year was Phoenix, this year's San Diego, so next year's Orlando, and then I've heard rumblings of going back to New Orleans. I was checking the website and I didn't see. Usually they have future dates. They don't go any further than 26 right now on the website. So all it
Mm.
says is Orlando. But yeah, I've heard some rumors about New Orleans and then potentially going back to Phoenix possibly after that or maybe Vegas or something. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the plan is yet.
We know we want to go to grass clippings as soon as we can, but if it takes a
Yeah.
couple years, we might have to get there
Yeah.
earlier.
Yep. Man, have you seen all the stuff they're doing?
Yeah,
They're
it's like they just got a money tree back there and just keep
It's
pumping it into the
crazy.
course.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just content galore. I mean they've got the good stuff going on. They just had a live versus their Minnesota Muskie,
Hmm.
who's their grass clippings open champions, I think. And yeah, they're doing all sorts of stuff out there. It's really really neat to see.
It
Really
makes
neat to
it
see.
makes it feel like one of those places you want to be. You're like, we want to go to
Oh
that golf
gosh,
course.
yeah.
We want to go visit there. So I think they're drawing a lot of people there. Plus Arizona or Phoenix, is it not Phoenix? It's in
Scott,
where's
yeah, Tempe,
Tempe? Yeah,
yeah.
it's a
So
big
same
golf
area.
area, right? Like there's a lot of golf courses, a lot of people that love golf, so it's in a good spot. But I think they're drawing a lot of people there as well.
Yeah, they are. It's just it's one of the best hangs in golf. There's no question. It's a lot of fun to go out there, hang out at their open air bars, and they've got the big stage set up now. So I think they're doing concert series all the time, and it's just fun. Plus the guys there are so much fun, so much fun. Scotty Heebs, obviously, such a great dude, and his staff is just always fantastic every time I've been out there. And then the ownership group is just as cool as they come, as laid back as they come, and just they had such a vision for what night golf could be, and it's just so fun seeing it get legs and take off. So can't
Hmm.
wait to see hopefully more of those types of facilities come up here in the near future.
Yes, yeah, you need them all over, and just the
Yeah,
culture too. Like their logos and their
yeah,
swag, all the stuff they do, their videos. Like
yep,
it just makes you want to be there. You're like,
yep.
what are we
And the
missing
fact
out right now?
and they're supporting superintendents.
Yes,
They're doing
yes.
great things for superintendents. They've already started uh, contributing to the GCSAA Foundation to help, further this industry. They're in talks with a couple other organizations that I know of that are helping to draw more people into this industry. So, uh, you know, the combination of a great time, a great place, and then obviously then supporting this industry and promoting superintendents, you just can't go wrong. Can't go wrong.
Not at all.
Yep. Yep. So hopefully, maybe we get a standalone event out there sometime where we
Oh, that'd
just
be good.
invite a bunch of people to come out and do another. The best ball or the scramble event that we had out there was just so much freaking
That was
fun. So
perfect. The way you set that up
yeah,
was money. I'd love to do
yeah,
that again,
yep, yeah. We'll see if we can
especially for the
work something out.
belts. You have to do the belts again.
The belts were a home run, man. The belts were a home run.
Oh yeah,
So
those are so cool.
yeah, I felt bad. I ran into Mike, who was our first champion. I ran into him on the street and yeah, just didn't recognize him right away. And finally, he's like, "Oh yeah, he's like, yeah, Mike, won the championship last year." Oh my God, yes, of course he did. We were talking. I'm like, why didn't you bring the belt? Why didn't you just wear the belt around the trade show the entire time? That should be mandatory. We're
That
gonna make
should
it
be.
mandatory. The
Yeah.
next time we do an event and you win a belt, you have to wear it on the show floor.
Yeah. Or carry it around your shoulder, however you
Or
feel.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. And like a tournament, I always think about the teardown. Like everything leaving that show.
Oh,
They do so much to build up to it. And it's like, hey, get out,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. It's exactly right. It's exactly like a tournament. It takes them however many days to get set up, and then, you got to get the stuff out in 24 hours. It's just freaking chaos.
And it's
Chaos.
so much signage too. There's signage everywhere.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? It's a great event. It's great. I saw the recap. Mike Strauss sent the recap from the show, and all the numbers were up. Just the feeling on the show floor, you could tell that it was up. I mean,
hmm
that first day, especially when the doors first opened, the traffic on that show floor was through the roof. Going to, especially we went to the Toro booth and the USGA booth and the BASF booth and all that. I mean, they were all packed. They were all packed, from the moment it started. It was great to see all the traffic and people checking out all the new stuff, standard golf. They were all everyone. They were all just swamped. It was great. It's great.
Yeah. My
Also,
favorite,
hopefully,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Now, I was going to say, just also a good indicator of where this industry is right now. Hopefully, people with budgets and money to spend, and they're looking at all these new tools that can help them out there. So hopefully, that sign and seeing so many people on the floor and um, you know, looking at all these new tools, hopefully, it's a good sign indicator where we are.
Yeah, it seemed like more people were working than previous
Yep.
years. Like it seemed like guys were kind of just looking around last year, and then even the year before when we were in Orlando. I know it was kind of after COVID and things like that, and like you said, people don't have the kind of budgets. So guys are kind of more or less just walking around handing out cards and things. What I found there was a lot more interacting this year, and you just hear conversations of guys saying, "Oh yeah, we could definitely get one of those. We could use one of those, or maybe we could trade up and get something like this." And it
Yeah.
just seemed like there were more people kind of engaging with the companies and the products that were out there, and some exciting things too. Like there was so much buzz about that Toro prototype roller. Holy shit, that thing could
Yeah.
absolutely change the game. And one,
Yeah.
I was kind of over there batting my eyes at it. One guy's like, "Oh yeah, you think it's that nice?" And I was like, "Man, I would retire and just ride this thing every day." Like
Right.
it was so nice. Got the joystick. It just looks so smooth. Obviously, it hasn't been tested or anything like that, but man, and you keep bringing products out like that, and then the excitement and the buzz and stuff for people. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there was actually business being done on there. It's great. And production for autonomous mowers. I mean, it's just
hmm
it's great. It's great to see where we are as an industry, all the innovations that are coming into this industry. Technology is obviously changing the game and all these new tools that integrate with other tools. And it's just it's great to see. It's really great to see, giving data to these superintendents to make decisions. It's great. And that data is so important to have, especially now. A lot of guys obviously still do a lot of stuff by feel, and that's great. It is. It's an art and a science. But when you're going into these board meetings and stuff like that, it's so nice and so valuable to have data behind you to showcase to your board, to your committee, or whatever it is, the reasons why you're making these decisions. So it's nice to have all that stuff and have that all kind of um, continue to grow.
And now it's time for another installment of Ask the Agronomist, presented by the Andersons. From tee to green, goal to goal, and shoots to roots, nothing is off limits.
Ask the Agronomist with Ben Pease and the Andersons. And today's question comes in from somebody who wants to remain anonymous, which is exciting. So, yeah, you can ask a question and remain anonymous if you would like. They ask, it's pre-emerge time. What are your suggestions for teas and greens?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good topic. We could spend the whole hour on that if we really had to, but we can boil it down to a couple things here. Teas. So if you're not using bent grass, it's and other cool season turf, we could use a mesotrione product. So we've got fertilizer plus mesotrione. And what that'll do is you're not have any effect on any of your divot mix germination going forward, because mesotrione doesn't stop turfgrass seedlings from germinating. So that's an advantage of using, yeah, mesotrione in an area where you are maybe trying to get regrowth even a month or two into the season. Bent grass or warm season grasses, we can use Barricade or Dimension products. I think Barricade's used more in the southern market than Dimension, but either is a good option. But like I said, in contrary to mesotrione, it will stop germination from anything in your divot mixes because Dimension or Barricade stops turfgrass seedlings as well as weed seedlings. So that's a little bit of a downfall there. But fertilizer plus herbicide products are pretty good. There's versions of fertilizer plus mesotrione. There's multiple options from the Andersons and others in the Dimension or dithiopyr plus fertilizer or the Barricade prodiamine plus fertilizer. So dozens are available. We won't run through those just because it depends on what fertilizer analysis you want to use and things like that and what AI loading you want as well. For greens, really the main thing that we see used is our goosegrass crabgrass control, and that's by the Andersons. So that's your best bet for especially goosegrass control. Now, it does work on crabgrass as well. There's other options for crab, but if you're going after goosegrass pre-emerge on your greens, really that's your best option. With that product, though, we make sure you do follow the label instructions carefully. There's some stuff on there about watering it in and using half rates twice to reduce some yellowing potential. So take a look at that if you are going with with goosegrass, crabgrass control. Greens, there's some dithiopyr options too. You can use smaller SGN fertilizer plus dithiopyrs. So there's a few options there, and it's got different analysis. There's a couple examples that we have that are 150 SGN. Yeah, 14014 has a 0.164% dimension, and we've got a 15010 that's got a 0.25 dimension on it. So as I mentioned before, watch the AI loading rates because that'll change your application rates. And of course, with these fertilizer plus dithiopyr options, you've got slow release fertilizer paired in there already. And so that's anywhere from 25 to 50% slow release. And again, that will be dependent on the AI loading. So as we do more AI loading, we increase the slow release percentage in the fertilizer because it's going to have to work for longer. But those are great options to control crabgrass, not so much goosegrass. They will suppress POA to some extent, so be mindful of that.
So Dimension is one that we're pretty familiar with up here. I've used for controlling weeds before. I know when you look on the back of that label, there's a lot of information, all the different specimens and everything's on there. How do you know what program to use when you're looking at that?
Good question. Yes, if you look at any of the Dimension or dithiopyr products, you're going to see, I think there's 4 different programs. And in that little program box on the label, it's going to kind of weed it out, pardon the pun, by, height of cut. So how tall are you cutting? Where are you going to apply this? Is it on a green? Is it on a fairway or a home lawn or your rough or something like that? So low cut turf or high cut turf is going to push you into one program versus the other. And then also, we all know with Dimension and dithiopyr, there is some slight post-emerge activity too. So the second option to kind of look at in those program charts is, are you doing a traditional pre-emerge or are you doing something a little later where you're maybe trying to catch the end of the pre-emerge but the beginning of post-emerge? So that's the second part to look at on those programs. And when you think of those 2 factors, height of cut and your timing of application, that'll drive you just to the exact program that you're going to need for that area of application.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by again, Ben. This has been another great installment of Ask the Agronomist presented by the Andersons. And like always, if you want to get your questions in, send them to us or send them to somebody at the Andersons and they will get them to us.
There he is.
Kevin,
Hey,
how's it going?
how are you guys doing?
Oh,
Pretty good,
awesome.
thanks.
How are you? That's the important thing. You gotten any sleep the last couple of days?
Oh yeah, I tell you what, no sleep going into show probably for a good month. I was out in California for the Rose Bowl. Go Buckeyes!
Yes,
Um,
sir.
Oh, there
coming
you
out of
go.
the Rose
Drops it right
Bowl,
away. You're not even on the show for a minute.
we can bring it up about every 30 seconds if you like. Um, yeah, once we hit the ground coming out of California, there wasn't a whole lot of sleep to be had, and it takes a couple days. You know, you come down off of the adrenaline high, right? Being so busy, sun up to sundown, and then beyond that. Yeah, it was still still waking up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but finally Monday I was able to sleep a little bit. So yeah, it's starting to catch up.
Good. That's good. Well, I'm glad you brought out the Buckeyes right away and your trip out to the Rose Bowl. I mean, what were you thinking going into the playoffs as a fellow Buckeye? You know, after that game against the team up north, I had zero confidence in the team, but man, they pulled it out.
Yeah, I think I was probably right there with you. It was pretty discouraging coming off of that game against the team up north. To know how much talent that we had on both sides of the football and then just to underperform the way that the team did. I shouldn't say the team really. I mean, it was a game plan. It's easy for me. I know nothing about coaching football, nothing at
Right.
all, but I can easily say that game plan was horrible. Um, nothing like not leveraging all of your talent and advantages and just, working to your opponent's strengths as opposed to your own. But yeah, I was concerned. I was afraid of morale, both on the coaching side as well as the player side. Were they just going to throw in the towel? Tennessee was talking a lot of smack. There was a lot of that really ugly orange color in the horseshoe. Um, the field goal posts were evidently there was already a plan to get him in the Olentangy, right? All of that stuff. It's like, oh man, they came out, laid down the hammer, and I think that's the best thing that could happen for Buckeye Nation and especially for Ryan Day is for them to be able to come in and run the table the way that they did. So good to be a Buckeye fan right now.
Yeah.
I would throw out the disclaimer though. I am not that guy. I'm not that guy. I know there's a lot of passionate fans for a lot of passionate programs. I try not to be that guy for Ohio State. I love the Buckeyes. I love watching the games. I'm going to cheer for them, win or lose. But ultimately, I'm proud to be a Buckeye alum. My life does not change whether the Buckeyes win or lose. At the end of the day, it's a game. I'm not rubbing it in on the opponents. I'm not talking smack. I'm just enjoying it for the sake of enjoying it. And this year, I'm gonna soak it in a little bit more.
Absolutely.
You're not one of the guys running down the street carrying the goalpost then.
I didn't say that.
I was going to say, we have you on video doing that. So,
You know what's funny? My brother went to Ball State his freshman year. He had this bright yellow, wind jacket or whatever, and Ball State ended up winning their conference championship. He's on the front page of their school newspaper in the front of the crowd carrying their goalposts out to where they dumped them in some pond on the campus. It was the greatest thing. Like you had to be wearing this bright yellow jacket so you stand out like a sore thumb. Way to go, buddy. Way to
oh
go.
my
That was
God.
great. That was great. But yeah, no, I feel you. I'm the same way. I had a moment of weakness where I may have said something on Twitter about Coach Day. I immediately regretted that decision since they went on and won the championship. But no, I mean, just a great organization. I'm the same. Like, I won't lose sleep when they lose, but it's obviously nice when they win. So,
Yeah.
so talking about your Buckeye roots, then, Kevin, tell us about your journey. Then, how did you went to Florida, and now you're in Kansas? Talk about your career path here.
Yeah, I grew up in north central Ohio, one stoplight town called New London. New London's just north of Ashland, or a better landmark would be probably about 30 miles south of Cedar Point in Sandusky. So born and raised farming background. Grandparents were both farmers. My dad managed a farmers cooperative. He was a CEO of a pretty sizable grain co-op. You combine a passion for the game of golf with agriculture, naturally you get golf course superintendent. So that took me to Ohio State. Got a bachelor's degree there. Decided I didn't want to live where it snowed. And so I moved to Charleston, South Carolina, because that was the first job I could get south of the Mason-Dixon line before the snow fell. And was there for a couple of years before ending up in Florida for, I think I was in Florida for about 22 years. Before I moved back to where the snow fell. So you can't see out my window right now, but there's snow on the ground. It was 0 when I came to work this morning. But all good.
Oh, it's a bit of a journey there. What about growing up with the game of golf? Was that something that you got into at a really young age and played for a while, or did you kind of pick that up later in life?
Yeah, no, I picked it up pretty young. My dad, who also graduated from Ohio State, he had a PE class, which was golf, when he was a student there. So he learned to play golf. Love you, Dad, but he never learned to play very well, but he enjoyed the game. And on Saturday afternoons or Sunday afternoons, he would take my 2 older brothers and myself to the golf course, Rolling Acres Golf Course, which I don't think is even open anymore. I'm not sure, but Rolling Acres Golf Course in Novo, Ohio, 9 holes. My dad would have the old Harley Davidson golf cart with the tiller steering wheel in the front. My brother Mark would ride with him. My brother Mike had to walk, and I kind of sat just in between. I was too young. I wasn't able to play yet, but I remember the first Saturday where neither of my brothers were available to go with Dad to go play golf. And so that was my chance to go play. Of course, I was probably 4 foot tall, playing with regular size clubs. The clubs were old enough that they had the old wrap. They actually had wraps for grips instead of grips that just slide on the ends. But I'll tell you what, I don't know what I shot that day, but I did the fourth hole, got the ball airborne. And after that, you're hooked, right? So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, love the game.
That's awesome. I was telling Adam last time I made a visit with you when you were still down in Florida, you were in the process of wrapping up your MBA. When you were going through that process, is this something you had in mind, potentially making the leap from being a superintendent into more of, for lack of a better term, like a corporate role?
When I did the MBA, I'm not sure what the vision was. I know that being a board member for GCSA was part of what pushed me in the direction of getting an MBA, because I was really interested in the business aspect, whether it's GCSA's business or any kind of business. I was getting significantly more involved with running the club as well at Isla del Sol. Even though we had a general manager, I was able to work pretty closely with the board of directors at Isla to work on long range planning for the entire club, strategic direction, strategic marketing, things like that. But I don't know that this position and this role at GCSA necessarily was on my mind when I pursued my MBA, but certainly it all made sense. The stars all aligned when Bob Rehnquist retired, and I kind of had that degree in my back pocket. I said, you know what, this is a good fit. I know that one of the things that's going to stoke my fire for the next 20 years as I've worked towards ultimately worked towards retirement, and a long way off, but one of the things that's going to stoke my fire is being able to be strategic in nature, having a business mindset. I loved being a golf course superintendent, still very passionate about the work that superintendents and their teams do, but ultimately this was a good fit for me to come in this direction.
So take us back to Thunderbird Hills. That was your first golf course job. What was that like? Any good memories from there?
So that was my first golf course job. The interesting note about that is I did not work on the grounds crew.
Oh, there you go. That
So I
happens though,
was,
right? You kind of had to make the sideways move.
yeah, this was me knowing I loved the game of golf and I wanted to spend my life working towards the game of golf, and thinking, hey, I want to be a professional, or I want to be a general manager of a golf course, a country club, and having no idea what that actually meant because I knew absolutely nobody in the industry at all. But Thunderbird Hills, it boasted a top 100 golf shop year after year. It was a public facility, but it was located halfway between Cleveland and Toledo, and they had a really well-built, stocked golf shop. And keep in mind, this is before the days of PGA Tour Superstore and Golf Galaxies and all of that. So if you lived in Cleveland or Toledo or anywhere in between, and you were getting ready to take a vacation somewhere warm, and you wanted new clubs, wanted a new bag, wanted new clothes, new shoes, there weren't a lot of places to go outside of ordering online from, well, actually not ordering online because the internet wasn't really there yet. So catalog ordering, right, from like Golfsmith. There weren't a whole lot of options. So I got a job there, and it was a lot of retail job throughout the day, as well as doing carts at the end of the day, parking all the carts, doing that kind of stuff, running trash, tapping kegs, you name it, cleaning bathrooms, you name it. I did it. Took tee times. That was an experience, but just knew I wanted to be in the game of golf. I didn't even know that the profession of being a superintendent existed. But yeah, I worked there for over a year before making some sideways moves into working in agriculture because it paid better. Before then ultimately ending up back combining the two and having the career path that I took.
I was gonna say, was the big epiphany when you shot 141 as a freshman? Was that when you realized like maybe golf pro is not the path?
So I did shoot 141 as a freshman. That was our conference championship. I was either the fourth or fifth player on varsity. Granted, it was New London High School. We were a small school, country golf course, played our home matches at Millstone Hills in New London, Ohio. But ultimately, I mean, I don't know what my handicap would have been. We didn't track it then, but I was a low 80s shooter, when I was a freshman in high school. And I was looking forward to our conference championship played at Ashland Brookside. Really excited to go out and do it. Really excited to compete. I loved the golf course, and I got a case of the S word starting off on the very first hole, and it didn't go away. And it was a nightmare. I mean, it was an absolute meltdown. I feel bad. I kind of feel bad. I'm not going to name the names, but I still remember one of the players. I was in my threesome. I think we played in threes that day. I didn't necessarily care much for this individual, so I didn't feel too bad about it. But yeah, it was a meltdown. It was a nightmare. It's just I still wake up in sweats at nights thinking about that round of golf. And I remember boasting to my coach. I said, "Well, at least I didn't cheat." But honestly, I don't know how you accurately count 141 strokes over 18
No kidding. You
I
still had
finished
enough
at
balls
100.
to keep playing.
Well, I think I had this. Oh, I almost said the word. I think I had the case of the S word so bad that it didn't go far enough to lose the golf ball. To be honest, it was pretty rough. So
I was going to say, yeah, shoot 141, didn't lose a single golf ball. That would be epic right there. But you know what? You were a team player because you were doing such a bad job throwing the guys in your group off their game that had to have helped your team. So
It's true.
Kudos to you. Kudos to you.
you think of, so I was thinking about that one player I played with. He went to St. Paul High School in Norwalk, Ohio. And I won't name his name, but interesting enough, you start to think about how small our world is and how connected our industry is. It was 2023. I was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, representing GCSAA at the annual meeting for the Architects Society. And I'm standing there at a reception, and I see a guy that looks awfully familiar. I'm like, so I go over and I talk to him. I wasn't talking to anybody at the time, and he was just kind of standing there. And I struck up a conversation and asked him where he's from. Well, I'm in Ohio, and I'm working for Jason Straka, and who I've gotten to know over the years as well in the industry. But we started talking a little bit more, and I'm like, well, where are you from originally? Where'd you grow up? And he said, Norwalk. I said, did you go to St. Paul? And and the conversation just evolves. And yeah, sure enough, I mean, Ben Wheeler, the exact guy I thought he was. He played #1 golfer for St. Paul High School, and we played against each other in high school. And we've crossed paths a couple times since then. And the story gets even more drawn out from there in terms of how we know each other. The connections just keep lining up. But really, really cool thing about our industry is it becomes really small once you start having conversations with people.
A-Plus Rewards are back. The Andersons A-Plus Rewards program offers turf managers the best opportunity to save on our newest and most popular products this fall. Earn rewards on purchases of Contec DG, Voltec SG, Castaway DG, Carbon Coat, and more. Don't miss this opportunity. The average reward for last year's program, more than $250. For a complete list of qualifying products, visit andersonspro.com. Offer available to U.S. customers only.
That is pretty common. We do hear that quite a bit. When I first got in the industry, I thought it was, all these different people that were making it happen. And when you look at it and it gets smaller and smaller and tighter, and it is really cool. I just wanted to ask you, Kevin, about the transition from working at a course like that, where you're doing more, stuff in the golf shop, and then you move over to actually working at a golf course. What was that like, making that transition and your first super job?
It was a natural move, I think. So there were a couple of years in between working in a golf shop to when I actually worked on a golf course. I think it was between my freshman and sophomore years in college. I went and interned at Findlay Country Club. Randy Shaver was the superintendent there at the time. Randy didn't want to hire me because I had 0 golf course experience. So Kevin Kroll was the assistant superintendent. I interviewed with Kevin on a Friday evening, and Kevin hired me, and Randy washed his hands of it. He says, he's yours to work with, right? And Kevin's like, game on. Kevin's a Marine. Okay. So don't ever challenge a Marine because they're going to prove you wrong. But the, first day on the job, they're teaching me how to triplex greens and change cups. And I also got my 4 hours worth of obligatory weed eating in as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it was natural. I mean, just having that background of working farm equipment and things like that. I love being hands-on. I love being outside. I love everything about the game. I felt much more connected to the game working on a golf course than I did working in a golf shop, hands down. The work is, you can instantly see the results of the things that you do at the end of the day. Whereas in the golf shop, I knew pretty quickly that I didn't want to be a PGA professional. I didn't want to necessarily work in a golf shop because I spent my time answering people who wanted me to give them special treatment. Oh, just find the tee time for me. I mean, Thunderbird Hills ran like 6 or 7 minute tee times. It was insane. And the first tee times usually started probably 15, 20 minutes before sunrise, and they're booked. And so you can't squeeze people in. And I was 16 years old. I didn't have the liberty to give you a 25% discount on a set of clubs, but yet everybody always wanted preferential treatment. So it was the right move for me in terms of my career, especially early on, to go into, management of golf courses, the grounds, working with those teams. It was a natural fit.
On to this new transition then. Talk about how the skill sets that made you a great superintendent have helped you in your new role as COO of the GCSAA.
It's funny how you evolve over time, and it was definitely the right move for me to go from being inside and being that customer service oriented person early on when I was, in my late teens and early 20s to move towards a golf course, because that's where I developed a lot of the people skills just over time, working with crews, working with members, reporting to greens committee chairs and board presidents. And that really ramped up when I got involved with the Florida West Coast chapter, and then ultimately the Florida Golf Course Superintendents Association. You start growing those skills and realizing where you enjoy doing some of those things, whether it's putting together presentations or formalizing budgets or making strategic plans, making long-term plans for the golf course or for the chapter or whatever it might be. But that's what led me to being on the board of directors or running for the board of directors for GCSAA it's just that I really enjoyed doing those things, and I enjoyed giving back, and I enjoyed probably most of all working with people, and that whole community, that whole network, whole superintendent network, right? It's the connection of the people. That's what
Nice
makes it
plug. Nice
so
plug.
Yeah, you can go ahead and Venmo me that for the plug too.
You got it. You got it.
But I think about where I had evolved in and where my skill set had grown as a superintendent and what I was bringing to Isla del Sol. Um, the things I loved most about my job when I ended up leaving Isla um, were people and projects. Okay, it was working with people, whether it's the people that I was bringing into the crew and working with the crew to develop, whether it's assistant superintendents, equipment managers, or that young guy or girl that it's the first time they ever set foot on a golf course, and teaching them about the game, teaching them about what we did, and not necessarily how, but why, because the why is always what makes the light bulb go off. But working with people on that aspect, as well as I mentioned, I had the opportunity to really get involved strategically with the club, long range planning, not only with with the golf course, but the infrastructure, the projects. Whether it was more important to build a deck off the a cantilever deck off the north side of the clubhouse, hanging over the beach, or more important to redo the driving range and practice facility. I mean, having those conversations, being able to work across our membership to figure out what the right moves were for the club, as well as how to market the club, not only for the current members, but moving forward. Those things, that fuels my fire for sure. And just thinking strategically about what's going to move the needle with the people we're trying to serve, and whether it's at the club level or with GCSAA, what moves that needle. And people and projects, I love it. And I have more people and more projects than ever before now that I'm working for GCSAA.
Take us through that decision of actually leaving the golf course, because that couldn't have been easy. And I don't know if that was your decision or somebody kind of plucked you out of there, because now you're sitting in an office and traveling and things, and you're not out on the golf course every day in your cart. So what was that decision like for you?
So I was about 4 months away from the annual meeting where most likely would have been elected president. I was running unopposed. I was already nominated to be president for GCSAA. I was sitting in a restaurant with Red Evans, who was in town for a meeting, and we were talking about the incoming year for when I was going to be president, and where are we going to hold board meetings, and what are some of the things that we want to focus on with the board, with the association. And interesting enough, Bob Rehnquist had just recently retired. When I say recently, it probably was only 1 or 2 weeks in the rear view. I mean, it was pretty recent, and there hadn't been a lot of discussion or thought put in terms of how to backfill Bob's position as chief operating officer. And while Rhett and I were having conversations about what the next year was going to have in store, there was always this, we'd start talking more on operations as opposed to board level things. And I think over the course of dinner and a meeting in the hotel lobby, that it seemed a light bulb kind of went off for both of us that, hey, you know what, this could be a good fit. And then it's a question of, oh, geez, I need to go talk to Melanie. Melanie's my wife, and I need to go talk to Melanie because I don't know what she, number one, would think about relocating to Kansas. Number two, I had spent some time I working inside and not being on the golf course and not having that hands-on approach to my job. And it wasn't when I did it, I was in my early 20s and totally different career path outside of the game. I was a stockbroker. But knowing that, hey, that wasn't a good move for me. I didn't respond well to not having that tangible part of my job. And talking with her through that to see, hey, have I evolved enough? Have I changed enough that this would be a good fit? And she actually gave me the confidence to know that, yeah, you're not the same. You're not the kid you were when you're in your early 20s. You've changed and your skill set's changed and your comfort level's changed. She says this is the perfect fit for you. You should pursue it. But it is a leap of faith. While while I knew GCSA very well from a member standpoint, and I'd been to show a million times. I had taken the education. I was a grassroots ambassador. I'd been a national golf day. I had done best management practices. I mean, I was a consumer of everything that we do through GCSA. Plus, I knew the board and business side of it. You think, it's easy, and you're going to step in day one, and you're going to hit the ground running. But let me tell you, when you spend 20 years in your career as a director and an expert over the things that you're responsible for. I mean, nobody at Isla del Sol knew my business better than I did. Nobody knew the grounds. Nobody knew those things better than me in terms of what needed to be done and how to operate. And I come in an organization now that, we have 18 different departments. And every department has a director, and those directors are subject matter experts. And being able to pull back from having to be, literally in the dirt and in the weeds and all of that, and having to know all of the answers, having to pull out of that, and now focus my energy and efforts on communication to make sure that all departments are working well across one another, as well as support and empowerment, right? What do you want to do? And what do you need to do? And how do we make sure it gets done? How does it fit into the business plan for GCSAA? How can we make it happen? And it took a little bit of evolution. Took some learning to figure out where and how I could be most effective. But I think ultimately, the team could feel my sincerity behind really wanting to make each and every one of them effective, wanting to make this organization successful towards serving our mission. And our mission revolves around our members. Ultimately, I think, almost 2.5 years later, we're in a good place, and cylinders are firing, and I think we're moving in the right direction.
That's really good. So a lot of good stuff going on there at the GCSAA, and you're definitely the right man for this role, and appreciate everything you're doing. Kind of a two-part question here. Number one, obviously you guys do a lot of great work for this industry, but I just want to know, how much fun is it working for the GCSAA? And then I guess number two, I want to know about some of the initiatives you're really excited about for the future.
I have a ton of fun working for GCSA, and I think it's because there's great people here. If you've ever had a chance to either come to headquarters or engage with our team somewhere, whether it's here at headquarters, certainly we had over 11,000 people engaging with our team last week in San Diego. Or if you've worked with them on committees or task groups or National Golf Day, or you've seen some of our team members come to the chapter level, you'll realize that our team is made up of really good people. It's when we make new hires, or when we're going through an interview process for a new person at GCSAA, one of the things we talk about is what it's like to work for a purpose-driven organization. Because you can always go work for Apple or Google or, whatever, XYZ company, right? And some of the challenges with them is it's very, very bottom line driven. Okay. Those companies their success is based on making shareholders money. And if you're not making shareholders money, you got to do something differently. And that's not the case here at GCSA. What we do is the money we bring in, and yes, we want to bring in money, but the reason we bring that money is every penny we bring in is turned around and invested back towards our members and back towards the industry. It's about making our members' lives better, making the industry better, making the game of golf better. And so it's a lot of fun when you come to work every day, knowing that your focus is impacting people's lives. We talk about it all the time, whether it's in our monthly all-team meetings or our weekly department leadership meetings. We talk about the fact that we're changing lives to the game of golf, and that might sound like a bold statement because what are we doing? We're providing education to members at GCSAA, or we're going to National Golf Day, or we're lobbying on the Hill, or we're working with regulators about product availability and regulations and things like that. But at the end of the day, the things that we're doing changes lives. Hopefully the whole intent is to make sure that we're making our members' lives better, whether it's directly through the work that they do or indirectly by helping them increase their wages, find better jobs, get them better recognition amongst golfers and owners. So it's a lot of fun when you come to work and you're making an impact. I think about when the hurricanes rolled through, and I was working with the communications team, specifically GCM Online, and some of the articles we were putting out there, and communication we were putting out there. And a lot of times the team gets to write a lot of copy and write a lot of articles that tell some stories. But actually, specifically, the work we were doing around hurricanes was directly trying to figure out a way to get help to those in desperate need in that moment, whether it was in the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida. But we were actually making direct impact with people. And at the end of one of the calls or meetings that we had, one of the team members I was working with turned to me and she says, "I've always heard you talk about this, but now I have chills because I'm feeling it. I realize that today I made a difference in somebody's life." And ultimately, that's what we talk about. Whether it's the sales team that's trying to sell exhibit space at show, or whether it's the learning and career development team, workforce development team, government affairs, we want to make a difference. And there's nothing more satisfying or gratifying than when you're actually able to see that come to fruition. So I have talked in depth about that. And I don't even remember what the second half of the question was. I know one was about how much fun is it. If you can't tell by now that I have fun coming to work every day, I don't know what else I can say, but it is a lot of fun.
I've been very fortunate to have a lot of interaction, obviously, with you and Red and the rest of the team there. So it's, I can just only imagine the work environment there at headquarters. It's got to be an absolute blast. And like you said, every single individual that I've met has that sole focus of making the lives better, and you guys are doing a great job with it. So, but yeah, no, I mean, great lead. And then too, I mean, just you talking about some of the things that you're currently doing was curious about some of the initiatives you're most excited for the future.
Yeah, so before I get into a few of those initiatives, I do have to talk one more thing about fun, and that is the fact that, hey, we do have wonderful people here. You've mentioned Rhett. Rhett's our CEO. I know he was on just before the holidays and, talked about his climb on Everest. But, Rhett's pretty inspirational, not only to those outside of the four walls here at GCSA, but to those of us inside the four walls as well, within the team. But we try to be lighthearted at times, try to make sure that people realize that it's not all business, that we try to support each other, families, friends, outside interests and all of that. But Rhett's a practical jokester at times, and he likes to pull some pranks and do some things. Well, people also like to get back at Rhett. And so I was listening to that podcast actually this morning on my way into work. The one when you had Rhett on. I wanted to do a little bit of homework to see what some of the last messages were that were shared. But in the background of that podcast, I could hear a cricket chirp. So I don't know if you guys picked up on that, but somebody during chapter delegates had put a couple of noisemakers in his office that sounded like cricket. So I could hear it about every 3 to 5 minutes. I could hear this cricket chirp. Funny thing is, Rhett couldn't hear them. It's in a tone that it's such a pitch that he couldn't hear it. But we try to have some fun here, certainly. But
oh, it's amazing! I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it again.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Chirps.
Little hidden practical joke. That's so good, boys.
Well, and keeping it lighthearted, we're getting ready for show, and I think Rhett was on the road. I think he might have been over at BTME, the bigger conference over in the UK, building relationships with the folks over there. But we had our all team final briefing before we get to show, and it's running A to Z with all 85 team members. And our theme at show was catch your wave. Try and just play fun on San Diego, get people excited to get out of the cold and go to San Diego. And hey, San Diego's a big surf town. Well, it was 6 degrees that morning, and trying to pick up where Rhett would normally be. I showed up late, and I'll say late with quotation marks, to the team briefing because I was carrying a surfboard and I was wearing board shorts and flip-flops to get the team totally stoked go to San Diego and have a good time. But those are just the things that we like to do, is just make sure that everybody's having fun and really excited about the work that we do. But the work that we do, though, a lot of big initiatives. And GCSA is a big ship. It's a big animal, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get some things to fruition. So there's things that we've been working on and talking about since I was even a board member that are about to come to fruition here over the next year, and some of them already have. But when you think about the work that we try to do and the things that we do at GCSA, we always first rely on our member needs survey. Every year we take a survey of our members to find out, hey, where are we hitting the mark? Where are we missing the mark? And what are your biggest challenges that you face? And I can tell you, first and foremost, several years running now, the number one item on that list has been labor, right? And I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. It's been labor. And so one of the things that we did to address this is we felt like it wasn't enough just to have labor fall in under our learning and career development department, because when you think about that department, that's focused a lot on really development of our members, but it's not necessarily workforce. So a year and a half ago, we started a new department called First Green and Workforce Development. Now, I think a lot of the listeners will be familiar with the First Green program, and that's our was STEM education. It's now STEAM education program, where we connect with local schools and youth programs, bring them on the golf courses to teach them valuable skills, around science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, using the golf course, right? Well, First Green it's a community program. We're just trying to build relationships with communities and do something good for kids. But number two, it is a pipeline. We're planting seeds with kids that, hey, golf's a pretty cool sport, and it's also an opportunity for you to have jobs. But sixth graders working on golf courses is probably not going to happen anytime soon. But we brought this in, First Green. It used to be a chapter program, or worked under the chapter umbrella, but we created our own department, First Green and Workforce Development. And that workforce development's key. It's about building relationships with other groups and being on the offense, about making connections with outside groups to let them know about careers in golf, and to be able to provide them a pathway of, hey, you want to work in golf? You never worked on a golf course. You're a high school kid, you're a college kid, you're a military veteran, you're retired, you're in between jobs, whatever that is, wherever you are in life. If you have an interest in working in golf, being able to take you, talk with you, learn about what makes you tick, and figure out where you plug in, figure out where your future could be in the industry. And so through these efforts, we've developed what's called a career pathway, and we're connecting the dots, slowly but surely, but we're connecting the dots from somebody's first day on a golf course, which could be as early as being a student with First Green, or being an FFA student, or maybe a recent high school graduate. But being able to connect those dots every step of the way, and providing somebody a pathway from day number one to the next step, to the next step, to the next step, all the way up to becoming a certified golf course superintendent, if that's where the path takes them. And as you can imagine, that it takes a little bit of time to be able to plug in all the education, all the next steps. And trust me, GCSA isn't the only provider, and we want to work with other providers to figure out where they can leverage and fit into these fit into these various steps along the way. But we're trying to be able to provide that pathway, that guidance, and that engagement across people who would be fulfilled with a career in the game of golf. So career pathways is being developed. Step number one is what we're calling a greenkeeper level. As you can imagine, greenkeeper level is that entry level. Most of us who ran golf course grounds crews, we often call our entry level employees greenkeepers or operators or groundskeepers, something along those lines. And we're working on, we'll be rolling out later this year the skill sets where we feel that this is a level one greenkeeper, and being able to help superintendents train to those skills, give them a roadmap on how to train employees to be competent, both in skills as well as knowledge, to being a competent greenkeeper. So then they can take that and use that as their stepping stone to the next logical point, which could be an experienced equipment operator, or it could be a foreman or an irrigation tech or spray tech, but starting to connect those pathways. We're rolling out training videos in May. May has 31 days last time I checked, so I'm not sure if it'll be May 1st or May 31st, but we've got our first series of our video training series that will be greenkeeper focused, rolling out. That will be, accessible by all of our members to be able to take and train our crews. And if you think back in the day of the VHS tapes, I think a lot of us that have been in the industry for a while remember some of the VHS tapes that were out there. I think there were DVD versions as well later on. But it was about, a lot of the basic skills of this is how you mow a green, this is how you cut a cup, this is what a golf course is, because we all hire a lot of employees that have no idea about the game of golf and don't realize that they shouldn't be doing they shouldn't go driving full speed past the foursome that's putting out on the green, right? But being able to give that basic understanding to our golf course crew, bringing them up to speed, and that they may not get it all within the first time they watch a video, but it's a resource that the superintendents and assistant superintendents can use. That, hey, you're going to watch this video, it's going to give you some familiarity. I'm going to teach you the task, but I'm going to have you continue to watch the video on your own time, because seeing it, hearing it over and over and over will help you understand how to change the cup, the mechanics behind it, how you select hole locations, things like that. So, and this is just labor and workforce development. That's just one of the small initiatives that we're talking about. But it's a key one, especially for 2025, 2026, 2027. FFA, formerly known as Future Farmers of America, but FFA, 1 million high school students across the country, that have an interest in agriculture, horticulture, working with their hands, science, those different aspects. We had them at show. We put them through the first ever National Turfgrass Science Invitational that was endorsed by FFA. They competed very, very similar to the Turf Bowl program that we've been running for 31 years, maybe 25 years. I don't remember how long Turf Bowl's been around, but it's been a long time. Yep. But very similar in nature to where we bring the college programs here. We did it with high schoolers this year. And what's monumental about that is once that these competitions exist, programs want to start teaching the curriculum. So we have turfgrass curriculum we can get in the hands of VOAG and FFA instructors, so they can start teaching lessons about turfgrass. And these light bulbs can start going off in these high school kids that know they like being outside, know they like working with their hands. They've got this familiarity and this, they're drawn to this, and now telling them that, hey, there's an industry out there where you can make good careers, not only as superintendents, but look at the salaries that assistant superintendents are now making, that equipment managers are now making, and hopefully we can continue to move that trend for our skilled team members as well, our technicians. So really cool what's going on with FFA. More to come there. Although I'm asking anybody listening to the podcast, reach out to us. You don't have to do this on your own. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can help you connect. If you can help us make the connection, we can get you the information. We can give you the talking points. We can even sit next to you in those meetings with the high schools and the instructors to figure out how to get the programs in their hands, or at the FFA state conferences. We want to be there. We want to help. So veterans programs as well. I could keep going on and on about
You got a lot going on, Kevin.
We got a lot. That's just workforce development. I mean,
yeah, I know, right? That's one of the 18 departments, right? That's crazy.
That's right.
I saw a bunch of those jackets. So we were talking earlier. We met with a couple guys at the show. Something you should think about as an alumni turf bowl. We were talking like each school get it 4 current superintendents, and let's test their knowledge, see what they've retained over the years.
Just making a note. And a perfect time to do that could be next year, and in Orlando, when the show's in Orlando. And why next year? Because GCSAA will be celebrating our centennial in 2026.
Nice.
It'll be,
You coming back to Sylvania for that?
that is definitely on the radar. I'd love to make sure that we're there in Sylvania, September 13th, if possible. If not the 13th, somewhere right around that window, right? To celebrate where all of this took place and where Colonel John Morley brought together that great group of visionaries to make sure that our industry had a support group, a support network to not only bring in the camaraderie and the support that we all know that we still rely upon today, but also to share the education and the tips and tricks that work. We still say it, right? What's unique about our industry is the fact that you can be a competitor with the facility up the road, but yet you're willing to loan them a piece of equipment, take a look at what they've got going on, talk them off the ledge when when the general manager or greens chairman's breathing down their throat. And so, yeah, we'll be celebrating 100 years of Colonel John Morley and the vision that he had, that has evolved to our 20,500 plus members that we have around the world. But this would be a great tie-in, right? Some of the alumni groups, we're looking at it across all aspects. In fact, I was just immediately prior to coming to this call, our senior leadership team, we just started having a quick debrief coming off a show last week, and already talking about, hey, what do we need to be focusing on making sure that we truly celebrate all aspects of the organization when we're in Orlando celebrating our centennial.
Well, you guys do.
Our members.
Yeah.
You're all a part of it. We want to make sure that you're celebrating the centennial. This isn't our celebration. This is your celebration.
Yeah, it's about the people, right?
Right.
Well, you, Kevin, you guys did or do an incredible job. Our industry would not be where it is today without all the hard work of everybody that's been a part of the organization, whether it's somebody at the top like yourself or, somebody who's just working their local association and trying to be a part of this big thing. It's been incredible. I know we don't have you for that much longer, but we did want to bring you on today to talk to you a little bit about the conference and just, how successful you thought it went, some of the things you guys kind of went through leading up to it, and, how you're feeling kind of a week or so after.
We're still on a bit of a high, to be honest, and that's a good thing to say. I mean, not to say that things were 100% perfect. I think if you have a show that size, there's always going to be little mishaps, missteps. Something's forgotten, something doesn't come to fruition, whatever it might be. But ultimately, there's been years where we've taken some criticism that show wasn't good enough for one reason or another. Maybe we forgot to recognize the right people. Maybe an event didn't pull off the way it should. Maybe the attendance wasn't what we had hoped for. I could go on and on. And I'm never upset with criticism. Hopefully it's constructive in nature, but I'm never upset with it because obviously it's somebody's experience that we need to be aware of. And, but I'll tell you, this year coming out of San Diego, the feedback's just been tremendous. The number of phone calls, texts, emails, letters, to myself, to Red Evans, to other team members, to our board of directors. It's been very positive. And I think I think the thing that most people continue to talk about is it's the energy. Okay. There's just a great vibe. There's a great energy. People were excited to be there. And we don't take for granted the fact that, hey, you just have to have a show. Everybody should come to show. You have to be there. If you're not there, you can't do your job. And the reality is you don't have to come to show. You choose to come to show. I think you're missing out if you don't come to show. I truly believe that. But what do you get at show? Well, you get education. Well, you can consume education at your local chapter. You get our industry partners often provide their own educational outlets. You can take education online. You can take it through your extension agency. So not trying to tell people don't come to show, but the reality of it is you can get your education elsewhere. You talk about the trade show. Well, if your vendors and salespeople are doing their jobs, they should be talking to you about these things at home. They should be bringing the equipment by to demo at home. They should be bringing you the information about the new product hitting the market, whatever that might be. And so you can learn about new products, whether it's online through email campaigns, marketing campaigns, or salespeople coming by. And even the networking thing, a bit of that does happen at home. But there's only one place that our entire industry, not just domestically, but the world, our industry gets together, and that is at our annual conference and trade show. And I think just bringing it all together is the experience that you're missing if you don't come. So do you have to be there? No. You can be a successful golf course superintendent or assistant equipment manager without coming to show. But do I feel like every single person is better served by being there? 100%. And I would just ask, everybody that's listening, I mean, and Brian, you and I talked about it. I mean, the number of connections, the number of conversations, the relationships that are built are life lasting. There are people that I've seen one time a year, every year for the past 20 years. And those relationships, they continue on. And I think that's the thing that we all miss, because we started to call with it, right? I love how tight knit the community is and can be, and coming to show, it just makes it better. I often get the comment, I'm not the social butterfly. I'm not the type A personality. I'm happy to sit back at my course and just do my own thing. But I challenge everybody, get outside of your comfort zone, go do it, and you will be rewarded time and time again. And if you don't know anybody, call me. I'll make sure that we solve that. And I mean that. Call me. We'll figure that one out. And the one other argument we get oftentimes about show, especially, I know San Diego is not a cheap place to travel to, but it's, well, my club doesn't pay for it. And my first question is, have you asked? And who did you ask? And how did you ask? Because if you just make the assumption, you're doing yourself a disservice. You should be able to go in there with conviction saying, I need to be here. You want me to act like a professional? You want me to be the best golf course superintendent I can be for our facility? You need to support me, and you need to send me to show. And I tell you, most people that manage or own golf courses, whether they're a general manager, an owner, a board president, a board greens chairman, they are business people. And if you make your case, they're going to have a hard time saying no. So I oftentimes feel like people just assume they're going to be told no. Same thing with dues renewal or getting their assistants or equipment managers signed up to be members. I think they just assume they'll be told no, when in the reality of it, the amount of money they're going to spend for membership dues or even to travel to show is a fraction of what they spend over the course of the year. And they'd be better off if they made that investment in themselves and their team.
Yeah, there's no question. It's a great investment for personal and professional development. So absolutely, everyone should go. I know we're running out of time here, Kevin. It's your episode. We want to give you the floor. Is there anything else you want to chat about before we have to hang up?
I would just say that if you can't tell, I'm passionate about GCSA, passionate about our members and the organization. I can tell you our staff's every bit as passionate. And I can tell you that my experience over the past 2.5 years, especially, is a lot of people have great ideas. And a lot of times they're sitting there saying, why isn't GCSA doing this? Or, a lot of times there's other providers that are doing things that are in tandem, or maybe not in tandem. They're I don't want to say competition, but they're very similar to things that we're doing at GCSAA. And rather than do everything in a vacuum, I'm urging the industry to have more conversations on how we can better do this together, because I believe that we're all better together. So if you're having that idea, why isn't GCSA doing this? Well, maybe we are, or maybe we haven't thought of it. So call us. Let's figure out how we can do it better together. Or if somebody else is out there doing it, great. Let's figure out how we can complement each other rather than compete with one another. Because the game of golf is awesome. The game of golf changes lives. It impacts people. And without the golf course superintendents and their team, we don't have the game of golf. Our members, our teams are essential to the game, and we're not shy about saying it. So let's figure out how we can do it better together.
That's awesome. I know I can just tell you quickly, we've had a lot of people reach out to us and ask us for training videos. So the fact that you guys are doing that is huge, and that's something we can just push and say that's something you guys should be a part of. Get your GCSAA membership, and then you can have access to all that stuff, because I don't think anybody's watching those old VHSs anymore.
If they are, they're pretty grainy. I think a lot of things have changed. It's certainly like looking at the uniforms and clothing that everybody was wearing at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Even the equipment, right? How far has the equipment come along?
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
It's slightly outdated. Awesome. Well, Kevin, this has been fantastic. I appreciate you jumping on and spending some time with us this morning. Always great to see you, and look forward to seeing you in Orlando, if not sooner.
I appreciate the invite. I appreciate the work that you guys do as well. I mean, we talk about community and connecting people, and appreciate what you're doing there to make that happen. And like I threw out there before, let's figure out a way to keep complementing and collaborating, and we'll keep making our industry better one day at a time.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Love it.
You got 5 days before Red Evans finds out that you guys put something in his office. So I don't know. I can't wait to figure out what his retaliation is going to be.
It's so good. So good. Can't wait to listen back to that.
Yeah, it's funny.
Awesome. Well, go get to your next meeting, Kevin. Again, thank you so much for your time, and we'll chat soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, Kevin.
Take care.
Yep.
That's so funny. I'm so glad that nobody told us about that, because I wouldn't have been able to keep a straight face.
No, I would have been listening the entire time.
Turf Today is also brought to you by Flash Weather AI. And right now, for a limited time, you can try Flash Weather AI's premium service for free. Head to our link on our link tree on our Turf Today Instagram, where you can get essential weather updates for free. Plus, access our full suite of predictive weather intelligence right now. Head there, sign up, and start tracking weather. Flash Weather AI. Oh, man. I guess maybe we didn't pick up on it. Maybe we did. And it was just like, hey, there's a cricket or something like that. And
I didn't hear it. I legit, like, as soon as we hang up, I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen to it. That's fantastic. So
I think it's so funny. Like,
yeah. Well, that's why I asked them that question, right? Because, obviously we talked to Rhett. We've interacted with a lot of people within the organization, and they're extremely passionate about what they do. They're extremely passionate about this industry. They all have the people of this industry in mind. And I can just tell the work environment there would just be such a blast when you get that many people together with that much energy and that have the personalities that they do. Just have to imagine that it's just an absolute blast each and every day there.
God, what a place to work.
Yep. Yeah, it's not too bad. And like you said, they get criticism.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, I mean, every organization is going to get criticism. We get criticism about what we do. I mean, that's just the nature of how things go. But at the end of the day, their heads and hearts are in the right place. And like you said, I got this all the time too when I was running associations. There are so many people that have ideas and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, as a member of an association, you are going to get out of it what you put into it. So if you're sitting on the sidelines and saying, well, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? Speak up, go attend a meeting, volunteer for a committee, whether it's at your local or the national association. Jump in and get involved, because that's the only way you're gonna implement change, is if you are involved. Again, you're gonna get out of it what you put into it. So don't, definitely don't sit on the sidelines. Get out there and make your voice heard, and be a part of the change if that's something that you think needs done.
And those guys are so accessible too. Like
Yeah.
there's got to be a lot of organizations where it's like you can't just call them up and ask questions, or you can't just get involved. But they're literally saying, give us a call. If you have
Yeah.
questions, if you guys have ideas, things that we should be doing, you want to see, let us know. So don't just feel like, oh, I'm an assistant at this course that they've never heard of or something like that. Like, no, they want to hear from you. So get
Yeah.
involved and reach out to them.
Yeah, they're, obviously they've got staff of 80 some people there in Lawrence, Kansas, but there's also board members. There are several I can't remember the exact number, but there are board members kind of sprinkled throughout the country. There's the GCSAA field reps that are through different regions throughout the country. So there's a ton of different ways that people can get in contact to the association, and again, have their voice heard. So they're extremely accessible. They're extremely open to listening to ideas. So yeah, again, I mean, if you see something that you're thinking of that you want to see done, reach out. It's that simple.
We didn't talk about the Eagles yet.
We have not talked about the Eagles. We have not. They won me
That's
some
fun.
cash, buddy. They
Did
won me
they?
some
Attaboy.
cash.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I hit send on the Eagles just a little bit before the game, and I immediately regretted that decision. But man, did it work out well.
Oh yeah, it paid off for you.
It was good.
I heard Vegas made so much money because most people bet on Mahomes and on the Chiefs and stuff. So I think they made just a bucket of money out there.
Yeah. I mean, hard not to bet on the Chiefs. I mean, just, such an explosive, dynamic team. And the Eagles just came in and just punched them in the mouth. I was not expecting that at all. Not at all.
No,
Nor
no,
was
I thought
Vegas.
no. All the scripts you were hearing about, it was going to be a tight game and things like that. So yeah, the Eagles just ran away with it. And Jalen Hurts, there was still, a lot of controversy and people thinking he couldn't do it and stuff like that. And his interview after, he just walks up to the cameras. Is that what you want to see?
I didn't see that.
That was it. Yeah, he had this huge chain on with this just all big diamonds and everything. Is that what you wanted to see?
That is outstanding.
Yeah.
No, it was great. I mean, that defense, the way they were attacking Mahomes as soon as he got the ball, if he was in the pocket for 3 seconds, someone was on him.
They were all over him.
Yeah,
it was fun to watch.
It was a great game. That was a great game to watch. So
yeah.
Now we go without football for another 6 months or something. So it's
now it's all hockey, till they hand over the Stanley Cup, and then it's all golf.
Yep. So we've got what NHL wraps up in April usually, right?
I think the June is when the Stanley
they go
Cups.
that long?
Oh yeah, it's a long playoffs.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Blue Jackets fan. We never make it past April.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I kind of
yeah.
think that's when the season ends. So
That's right. That's usually like that up here in Ottawa too. But
yeah, we've got a chance of making the playoffs this year here in Columbus. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's been good. And last night we watched the first game of the Four Nations Cup. Canada won in overtime against Sweden. That was pretty exciting.
Nice.
So we'll get to see the rest of that. Some of that stuff might get finalized before this episode comes out. So
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
my son informed me last night that there's a PLL box league, so professional lacrosse. Said they've got a lacrosse league, so I'm gonna have to go check that out because that's been something fun. My son started playing last year, and now I'm hooked.
Oh yeah,
It's the most entertaining sport I've ever seen. So
we
much
have
fun.
we have a team here in Ottawa. It's rough. Those guys.
yeah.
Oh my gosh! And when they fight too, it's just two guys. It's just a street fight. Like they're not on skates or anything, and they're barely wearing any equipment.
Yeah, very few pads. It's crazy. I watch, again, our kids play. My one son is a goalie, the other son's attack. So yeah, my son that plays attack, he'll come home and just his forearms and everything are just lit up with welts and bruises and everything. Guys just sitting there smacking him with the stick.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's a violent sport.
It really is. It really is. It's basketball and hockey kind of combined into a sport. It's entertaining. Very entertaining.
Yeah, there's fencing and that's part of that as well. The two-hand swings. Sometimes those guys hit each other so hard.
Oh man, it's nuts. Well, yeah, no, great episode there. So we talked a little bit about getting involved and everything. Kevin's he oozes passion, right? I mean, you could just immediately tell, just no different than Rhett, right? And they talk about the organization and what they do for the members. They're just so incredibly passionate about their mission. It's great to see the association in such good hands.
Yeah, no, those guys are great for what this industry is trying to do, and I think it just keeps getting better. So,
yeah,
great
absolutely.
guest. Appreciate having him on. We got a couple more awesome people lined up the next couple of weeks, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're off to a great start in 2025, and again, just continue to evolve and do more, bring more people in, hear more about this industry, the people that make up this great industry. So yeah, stay tuned.
And a big thank you, as always, to our amazing sponsors, the Toro Company, the Andersons, Flash Weather AI. We'll see you guys all next week, so be good and keep those reels sharp.